Hey everyone, it's Saoirse, and today we're going to do a good old-fashioned book haul because I realized how many books I've acquired this year. And the bookshelves, you might be able to see, I have finally gotten them to the point where my books actually fit. I've been moving things around, moving them to the other room, which is the library, and I don't have like the overflowing problem, but that's going to happen because if I get like 3 more books, we're gonna have problems. And I have a stack here that is far more than 3 books. I can't even pick it up and show you because it is so many. But let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 books. And some of these were given to me by friends, some by family, some are from little free libraries, some I bought at a book fair, some just at a bookstore. And let's dig into it. It is a really varied collection of books. So, first up we have Animal Farm, which I have read before, but this is just a beautiful copy that's pink and green, which looks good in my library, which is all pink and green. So this is by George Orwell. This is a classic. Definitely recommend that you read it, and it is so short. It's just over 100 pages. And I don't know, I just love this kind of stuff. And I spent a lot of time in Southwold in England, and George Orwell, he used to spend time there, and there is a really cool mural of him on the way to the pier. And so I don't know, I think about the time in my life when I was in Southwold, and it makes me feel nice, even though the subject of Animal Farm is not very nice. We have a 1912 edition of the Jungle Book. I love when people write in their books. I was excited when I saw that it says 1912 because if you don't know, that is Titanic year. And if you're on this channel, you should definitely know that. So, another antique for the collection. This one I'm reading right now. Actually, I might finish it very soon. Attached, The New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love. This may be my next video, we'll see. This is going to be a super long one. Whenever we go through things in life, if you're a reader, you might go and buy a bunch of books about the subject to help you deal with it. When I'm grieving, I go buy a bunch of books on grief. Relationship problems, breakups, I read about stuff like this. So this is actually really fascinating and extremely helpful, but also mind melting, and it's giving me so much to think about that I'm overwhelmed. So the video is going to be a lot, and it's going to involve a lot of notes. So we have a few here that I don't really know anything about, but my friend got them for me because we were talking about books and, recommendations. This is All the Lovers in the Night. These all look interesting. It's like when you go to a movie and you don't want to know what it's about before you go in. Have you ever done that? Wild, right? But I've done that a few times, and I don't know if I've done it with books, kind of had no idea, but I'm sure I'll read the back and, I can't go in completely blind to it. This was published in 2011. Then we have The Myth of Sisyphus. So the only Camus that I've read is The Stranger, so that'll be interesting. One of the most influential philosophical texts of the 20th century. Okay, you got me with that description. Ask the Dust. Ooh, 80th anniversary edition. Okay, we've got an older one. I'm looking at the back. Do you have a favorite era or decade that you like to read from? I always say that mid-century stuff is the hardest for me. that Lord of the Rings is like the best thing to come out of that era, because so much of it just feels like the writing was so stilted and bogged down, and in a way that like people talk about Victorian literature being that way, which I don't feel is entirely true. Um, so then I guess that tells you like Victorian literature would be up there with my favorite eras to read, probably my favorite, if not tied with modern literature. And I read a lot of ancient stuff, a lot of, I've taken so many literature classes because I was a literature major for my undergrad. So kind of ran the whole spectrum of what's out there. And I enjoyed the older stuff a lot more than like my mom did. She always talks about Beowulf, how she had to read that. And I think I have an appreciation for every era of writing. I think it's fascinating to see what humans, how they wrote, because what they write about, even though things have changed so much, even though now we have technology and the world is bigger to us because we're able to travel more easily, despite all that, like what's in our little brains seems largely the same. We still worry about the same things that people did thousands of years ago. If you're thinking in terms of like emotions, and obviously not, people back then weren't worried about like getting a new phone, but they're worried about jealousy. They're worried about death. This is why philosophy is so interesting, and it's good to read different philosophical texts from different generations. So let's move on. This next one is called Writers and Lovers. And this is another one that I hadn't heard of before my friend told me. 2020. Yeah, so he's trying to get me to read this, Moby Dick. Shockingly, I didn't have a copy of this, but because I have a lot of classics that I either have or haven't read. But man, this is one that I have just never been bold enough to tackle. It's over 600 pages. It's a big, big boy. But, you hear so many good things about classics, and sometimes they're 100% true for you, and then sometimes they're not, because not everything can be for everyone. So, maybe eventually I'll get to that. And then this one goes along with the book Attached, Anxiously Attached, because can we guess which attachment style I have? Yeah, so becoming more secure in life and love. Something that I would like to learn about. This is always what I do. I like, maybe it's going overboard, just getting a bunch of books on the same subject and kind of like breaking my brain reading all of them. I realize that I probably need a break. I probably should read some fiction soon. Luckily, we have a lot of it here. This is another one that I hadn't heard of. My friend got me, and it's called Friday Black, and it is a collection of stories. And let me just say, I love short story collections, and I'm so glad that it seems to be trending. Obviously, if you've been here before, you know that I'm not trendy. I don't follow book trends. I don't use TikTok. I don't know about Book Talk. I don't know about any of that stuff. So I just read what appeals to me. But I'm sensing by every time I go to a bookstore, there's like a bigger short story collection section there. I'm sensing that people are moving towards reading more short stories, which is really exciting because I finally saw the light 6 years ago. That's terrifying, when I started grad school. And they had us reading short stories, and I'd like never been into them. And it totally changed my outlook. I realized that it's actually like the most pure form of writing in a way. Like, it's so distilled, you have to really get in, get out, tell a story, make a point, and you can do such powerful things with it in just a few pages. And Sorry, it's hard to think because my AC decided to go out today, which is really convenient because it's summer in Florida, and so it's getting hot in here. I've got all the blinds closed. I'm trying to just like keep in whatever cool air was here from yesterday, but my brain's not working so well. But yeah, short stories. If you are like averse to reading a short story collection for some reason, please, I beg of you, just try. I always recommend George Saunders. He is just, people say he's the greatest like writer in the English language right now. I don't know. But he's amazing, and his short stories will grip you. 10th of December is probably my favorite collection. And I think in this era where nobody has an attention span anymore because we're so fried from using our phones and going on social media and having everything be instant gratification, short stories are really perfect because you don't have to be invested for very long. Okay, next up we have A Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. I'm excited to read this one because I didn't really watch him, but I knew of him, and I was always into cooking shows. I took culinary in high school, but I dropped out. Actually, I took culinary 1, and then culinary 2 came around the next year, and I dropped out. I had a bad habit of dropping out of everything, especially when I wasn't like the best at something. I did get in trouble for eating cheese while we were cooking one time, and then I had to do all the dishes for the whole class. Guilty. Like, what do you want me to do? It's cheese, but I would not do that in a professional setting. So yeah, let me know if you've read this or any of these. I would be very interested to know. Here we have Kurt Vonnegut, The Sirens of Titan, and I've only read Slaughterhouse-Five, and I actually listened to it. I normally don't do audiobooks. I listened to that one. I'm really, really bad at paying attention to audiobooks. I'm bad at like auditory processing, and so I don't remember a thing about it. It didn't make much sense to me because my brain like couldn't process it. So I'm excited to read this one, and the description is very interesting, and the book is pink. It's always a selling point. Oh, here's a book that I'm on the cover of. This is Ring Light Stop Shining. This is Neptune. It is Summer 2025 edition, and you will be familiar if you've been on my channel before. I think this is the 3rd edition of Neptune that I've been published in. So it's St. Pete Poetry and Art, and yours truly is on the front there. So I still haven't had a chance to read through it. Now this one I found in a little free library, Big Swiss. And the description just sounded wild. Stuff about transcribing therapy sessions for a sex coach. I was like, cool, and sold. And this is actually pretty new. And again, like, I just never hear about things. I feel like I'm like Bilbo in my study with all my maps everywhere, and I'm just like poring over my maps and not getting out. I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my brain, but to try and explain like why I don't know about new releases. My mom's always the one who has to tell me everything. Like if there's a concert going on, any kind of show in town, she's the first person to send me that because she keeps very like tuned in to the world and pop culture and entertainment, and I am just Bilbo with my maps. So, but yeah, this is from 2023 and I had not heard of it. I'm looking forward to that one. This one I saw at this awesome book fair that a local bookstore did with a local vegan restaurant that I love. They brought their books to the restaurant, like set them up on tables and marketed it as the Scholastic Book Fair for adults, which, you know, like Scholastic Book Fairs were my heaven as a child. I mean, just the memories, like, and not just the books, but like the bookmarks, the pencils, all the like accoutrements that go with it. So I saw this there, and whatever their marketing strategy worked because I would never be buying hardcover books. You would not catch me doing that, and I bought 2. So this is one of them, and this just looks fascinating. It's a collection of sexual fantasies from women around the world, And yeah, I mean, come on. And it's pink. My mom found this, or maybe my niece or my sister, I don't know, they were together and found this, Shakespeare's Sisters, Feminist Essays on Women Poets. So who have we got on here? Sylvia Plath, Virginia Woolf. This, ooh, hasn't been cracked open in a while, did you hear that? Woohoo! Oh, that's the binding going. This looks very interesting though. Insightful Essays on Women Poets. And this is the last one. This is the other one that I bought at the book fair. Actually, oh, I'm not gonna put it in this video, am I? Well, actually, it's sitting right in front of me. So if you didn't see my last video, it was on Victorian Psycho. I bought this at the book fair as well. Check out my video, shameless plug. And then, okay, this is the last one that I got there. Hungerstone. And these like felt like they had a very similar vibe. Let's see. Yeah, height of the Industrial Revolution. Remote British moorlands. Do you know what? Maybe I should read this next because that sounds like a nice little escape. I'm excited about that. Whoa, it's... I have so many books to be excited about, and I do a lot of, like sitting around wanting to be reading, but because, you know, we all live in this era where our brains are fried because we've been staring at our phones, I don't do as much reading as I want to, and also I just have really bad anxiety, and it can be hard to focus. I just saw this post about the way that OCD affects people in the evening, and I do have OCD, and it was saying like you are like ruminating, thinking about what's been going on in the day, you can't focus, and this explains one reason maybe why I just can't read in the evening. I pretty much have to do my reading in the morning, which is tough because when you're trying to set up like a routine, if you're a work from home person typically, it's hard to, if you're getting out of bed and immediately sitting down with a book, well, then that's kind of hard to ever want to like get up after that and start doing work. But the morning is the only time that I can really make my brain focus on reading because it's a fresh start and I don't have a whole day to ruminate about and freak out about, which in the evening my brain's just buzzing and it's basically impossible for me to read. That's why it was so special when I spent all night reading Song of Achilles. Oh, like that experience will live with me forever because that's very unusual for me. That's the sort of thing I was able to do as a kid before my anxiety got so bad. So that's it for now. That's my book haul, and these are mostly like recent, like I'd say in the past week, a lot of them, and definitely the past few months for all of them. So you can see the dilemma that I'm having. If you keep collecting books at this rate, how do you fit them on your shelves? And you know there's another shelf up there. There's a third shelf. And then there's 5 shelves in front of me that aren't as long, they're shorter. And then there's a whole other room that's floor to ceiling bookshelves. I don't have a problem. I'm actually thinking about building a little free library, and this is one of the only ideas I've been excited about in a long time, so please encourage me. If you've built a little free library, tell me about the process. Is it worth like designing it and building it myself, or should I get some prefab one? Are there laws about, like, can you just stick one in your yard, or do you have to get it okayed by the city? I assume if it's like not on the public property section of my front lawn, you know, whatever that little quadrant is so that they can get to the sewers or whatever the heck. As long as it's behind that, wouldn't it be like my decision? Or I don't think I live in one of those neighborhoods where it's like, you can't have this, that, and the other on your lawn because we want things to look exactly the same. Trust me, I don't have that kind of neighborhood. So, because you see a lot of wild stuff on the front lawns out here. So, that's it. I'm going to maybe read a little bit and try not to think about my AC being out. I need to stay very still and horizontal, maybe put some ice on my neck. I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Until then, happy reading.